Hey, this is Captain RV Bonsai. Today I'm going to talk about using large apertures with nature photos and landscape photos. This is one of my favorite styles of photography, using those large apertures, getting thinner depth of field in those nature situations. So we're going to go over two different outings. The first outing was at Rock Cut State Park. Anyways, it's a really nice area where you can work with thin depth of field, get some interesting stuff in the background. Of course, the 32mm lens isn't super long, so I don't get the effect quite as strong as I would like in a lot of situations, but I was working with it, trying different things out. One of the best ways to get this effect is to focus closer towards the foreground. That way, you get that thin depth of field up close, the background smoothly blurs out. Of course, with more open backgrounds, but with a little bit of interest, I think that's the best type. Getting lower angles really helps out as well. It gives a very unique perspective, and you can really get close and use that background, really scale it out. In this first area, using the trees a lot in the foreground to make that main subject, but then use the other trees right next to it, right behind it, to add a little bit of interest in the blurred background. Using objects around is also a good option. There were pine cones in this case. Picked a few up and tried it out. Of course, with that lens, you can focus relatively close and add some interest, or you can just have that the main subject and the background is extremely blurred out. One of my favorite looks for this style is beautiful paths that curve, or even just the straight ones that go really far, and a super amazing look to a lot of the photos. Of course, that is a mixture of human and nature, but I really like those ones. For the second outing, it was at a local park, not nearly as large, but had a lot of terrain variation, and worked with the 135mm f2.8 soft focus lens and the Viltrox speed booster, so I was able to really get a longer focal length and use that large aperture to the maximum effect. So I did a lot of the same things. You can see the differences between that and the 32mm lens. With those large aperture lenses, one of the benefits is actually vignetting. You can really enhance that look, get that moody feel to the images. The point is, there are options compared to the standard landscape photos where you're shooting at f8, f11, f16, whatever. Those beautiful vistas. There are definitely other ways to do things, and I think just as important, just as beautiful in their own way. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Scott from RV Bonsai. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. That helps me out a lot. Likes and shares help out a lot as well. Help this channel grow more. Thanks.